Hey, EJ here. So I've just come out publicly on Facebook about the one thing that I've been hiding from the world. And unfortunately the live stream was really blurry, but I didn't find that out until the end. So I was a little bit disappointed because I wanted that to be, well, of all the live streams that I wanted to work, I wanted that one to work out really well. So I thought that, and I've been thinking to do another video anyway, that where I would share or come out, or my story that would go on my Naked Woman Rising website. So I'm going to share, won't ever be the same, because you know, it's never, once you come out once, you know, it was kind of like whatever flowed in that moment, so it's never going to be exactly the same. And so what I want to share is something that I've been wanting to share for 3 years now, and I've been talking about sharing for 3 years, and I've been writing a book and been procrastinating it and making excuses and getting distracted and never quite getting there. And so it just got to this point where I was like, okay, right, you know, it's now or never. Enough is enough. I've got to share this. I've had enough of censoring myself, right? Because I share a lot of writing, and I you know, have lots of insights, and I share my stories, and I find that I censor myself. I don't put bits in, or I put them in and then I take them out before I post them. And I'm like, oh, I can put that in once I'm out. Once I'm fully 100% out, I can put that in, I can share it. I also know that I have a massive message to share. And my message really is around healing shame. So how can I teach that when I am not fully owning my story, right? So here I am to fully own it. And interestingly enough, the thing that I'm owning is actually, if not the most stigmatized and shamed and judged thing in the world. One of them anyway, one of the biggest, because people feel like they can't be open about it, like it's wrong or it's bad. And I'm here to say that it's not, because it is not what people think. It is not. It is so stereotyped, and there's so many assumptions about it. And until you do it, you will never know, right? Even I didn't. I had no clue before I got into it. So, tagged in my original coming out video, I had my other identity. Effectively, I kind of had been living a double life, right? For the last 6 years, I've also been under this other name, under this other identity, which is CJ Lemoore, which is was Claudia Jade first, but shortened it to CJ. And so CJ was born about 6 years ago, almost to this day actually, and she entered the sex industry and became an escort. So obviously CJ is me, so I won't talk about her in the third person. And it kind of happened in an interesting way, and I kind of fell into it too. But I started actually working privately, really kind of not knowing what I was doing, but I was a swinger and running swingers parties, and I had a lot of couples who wanted to hook up with me. And it was through that I actually started to realize that, hey, I can get paid for this, right? And so I just think of it as I found a really smart way to get paid for what I'd been doing for free for most of my life, right? And it kind of evolved from there. And about three years ago, so sorry, I'll go back. So before that, I had so I'd been working, you know, for about 3 years, you know, touring around Australia, and as an escort, I on the odd occasion worked in parlours, not very often, and that's an interesting story how I got into that, but but mainly as a private escort, and making a lot of money and finding a lot of ways to spend it as well. And I always had something else I was working on, like another business, and even at one point I was running charity events and putting a lot of my money into running these events. And so about 3 years ago I sort of went through a bit of an awakening in my life, and I realized that I wanted to really work out how this could be more in alignment with my soul, I guess, because I loved helping. I've always loved helping people, and clients would come to me and they'd open up to me. And what I really love about this work is that we really provide a space for people to explore their desires, for them to be vulnerable, for them to open up and share their stories, the things that make them feel ashamed, because we have no connection to their outside world, right? So, and they think because of what we do, that of course we're not going to judge them, right? So, which is interesting. So, I decided that I was always wanting to build another business to make enough money to focus on doing something that really would be more aligned with myself, because I knew this wasn't forever. Like, I was like, okay, this isn't what I'm going to do forever. It's just, and like, it's pretty easy right now. Like, it was easy money. Most of my clients have been awesome. I've had a couple of dodgy experiences, like a few dodgy experiences, but on the most part I've had really positive experiences. And so what ended up happening was I went through this awakening, started to heal myself on a very, I guess, a soul level, and I started to realize that I had these like healing abilities, and so I wondered how could I apply this with my clients. And so this is when I started exploring sexual healing and tantra, for myself first and then for my clients. And over time, over the last 3 years, my work has really evolved, and it's what I would call now, kind of like, it's got a lot of names. It's really hard to box it into something, because I do coaching, I do sex coaching, I do sexual healing, I do tantra, and yes, on the odd occasion I still have sex with my clients. It's usually a tantric sex service, or like a sex ritual, or some sort of coaching. And it's dependent, and it's always up to my discretion, okay? And it's always where I'm being fully honoured, and it's not about what the the client coming in to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do to you, what I want. It's more about what can we explore. What can we explore? What can we try? What pleasure can we feel? And at the same time, fully being able to honour my boundaries from moment to moment. And it's a whole different way of working in this industry, and I absolutely love it, because I really get to explore my desires as well, and what feels good for me. And so it's really amazing. It's a whole different way of working, and I do lots of different services and rituals. Most of them I've created for myself. If you want to have a look, soulpriestess.com is my website. Full transparency here, right? And it'll basically show you in depth all the stuff that I do, which it's quite unique now. It's something that I, as I said, have developed myself, a lot of it, except for things like tantric massage, obviously. I mean, it's still my own, the way I do it, because every tantric practitioner works differently. So I don't necessarily have any rules. That's not rules, it's not the right word. So effectively I still work in the sex industry. I still do escorting. I just do it in a slightly different way. And there are all different types of escorts out there that work quite differently. And, there's BDSM. There's all sorts of stuff that people do working in this industry. And I've just found my thing and my niche. And, for a while there I wanted to leave before I got into this work. So now I really feel like this is a calling. And the word that, kind of what I embody is being a sexual priestess. And I feel that a woman or a sexual priestess in their own way, we just have to learn how to really tap into that. especially women working in the sex industry. They're really providing a beautiful space. And you know, back ancient years ago, don't ask me exactly when, but I have a friend who runs an amazing Twitter page called the Whores of Yore, which is, and we're going to be doing some stuff together, but which talks about the history of sex work, and you know, where sex workers were revered and honoured and worshipped for their work, okay, because it's so deeply needed, because sex is so vital to who we are, okay. So I love providing a space for my clients to explore their desires. I love that I can help them do this in a really conscious way that honors me and it honors them, and that, you know, I can still provide healing and coaching as well. I've combined everything that I do kind of into this body of work that has really become my own. And saying that, I've started mentoring other women, mostly who already work in the sex industry, who want to do this work, who want to move more into tantric and healing and coaching and that sort of stuff. They want to, well, how do I move into that, right? Because, you know, who would have thought that you could work as an escort and get paid for what you want to receive? Like, you know, some of my sessions are where I teach them how to do breast massage, yoni massage, G-spot massage, G-spot orgasm in my sessions and practice on me. And which is, you know, it's a different way of working, and I love that I get to do that, and I love that they come to learn. Like, oh my God, it's so awesome. Because, you know, most people think, oh, people go to see the escorts just to, you know, get their rocks off, right? Well, let me tell you, there's all different reasons that people see escorts, and you'll be surprised how many, you know, how much sex you don't have, right? A lot of it is just for the company and intimacy and looking for some sort of connection or an outlet or an escape. You know, there's all different reasons, and some have particular fantasies and fetishes. I've got a few stories about those too, that they want to explore. And so I think it's really vital that we start looking at instead of looking at the wrongness of this work, let's look at the rightness. Like, let's look at the amazingness of it. Like, let's look at the beauty of it. Let's look and let's stop shaming it. Let's stop making it bad and stop making it wrong, and stop assuming that it looks a certain way. You know, people assume when they hear the word prostitute or hooker or whore or hoe, which to me are all just labels, and they don't define who I am, because what I do is not who I am, right? So they assume, you know, that's on a street, you know, sometimes in a street corner, and or you're on drugs and all that sort of stuff. Yes, there's that side of the industry, but let me tell you, most of the people, the women, I know a lot of women in the industry, like hundreds of women in the industry, like the most amazing, beautiful, strong, smart women that I have ever met in my life. They come from all walks of life. They're mothers, they are entrepreneurs, they are students, they're all sorts of different things that they do, and like so switched on. So it takes this really strong woman to do this work, okay? And you know, it's not always easy, right? Yes, we can get paid a lot, but let me tell you, there's a lot of upkeep and expenses that we have, right? Especially when you're traveling and touring all the time. Wow. You know, I'd hate to think about the money I've spent on hotels. But yeah, there's so much too that people don't see, and this is one of the reasons that I want to speak so openly. It's not just because I don't want to censor myself anymore, but also because I want people to see the realities. This gets glamorized on TV, you know, Secret Diary of a Cool Girl, the girlfriend experience. It's this, you know, this glamorization of it. And yes, sometimes it can look like that, but there's a whole lot of shit that goes with it too. It's not, I mean, to be honest, my experiences have been mostly positive, mostly beautiful and positive. I am going to be sharing about, on the 17th of December, about my experience with violence in the industry. There's just a couple of times, but there's one main one where I was manipulated and by a client and drugged and almost killed. That was one, and there were lots of red flags, and there's things I didn't do that I could have done to keep myself more secure. And this is like 4 years ago now, like a long time ago. So yeah, 4 years ago. So you know, I haven't had not one bad experience since then. Like, all my experiences have been amazing, so I'm really blessed in that way. But this is the reality, is this stuff does happen. And the thing is that I didn't go to the police about it because I was afraid to tell them that I was an escort. I was afraid, oh, what will they think? Will they take me seriously? And this guy was threatening me as well. You know, it would ruin my other, because I was running charity events. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to affect the events that I'm running. Like, all this sort of stuff can happen. And so, you know, if we bring this more out into the light, if we get people to see that we are human beings, and that we should not be shamed or being made wrong for choosing this work, then people are going to feel safer. They're going to feel safer to go and, you know, maybe if they've had these experiences, it's going to be more confident for them to go and feel like they're going to be supported, right? So I'm being really lucky that I've met so many other women that work in the industry, and we have, you know, we all support each other, which is, you know, really beautiful. And so, and I've made some beautiful, beautiful friendships. Like, I'm so blessed that I've, and you know, some of them are doing coaching with me, and so it's just so cool to be able to support each other. And so I'm launching the Naked Woman Rising movement, and hence I'm naked. Woo! Actually, I spent a lot of my time naked, actually, as you would expect, but I like being naked, and I came from a place of hating my naked body to, in this work, I have become really comfortable and empowered and love my naked body. And so, yeah, it's been great. It's been awesome. It can really empower you in so many ways, but in many ways it also, it kind of stopped me from stepping out and shining my light a lot, because I was kind of hiding this, right, and hiding behind it. Actually, I realized I was hiding behind it and not fully being myself, because you know, there's kind of a lie in the space. And I told my parents a few years ago, who were amazingly, amazingly supportive. I'm so grateful to them, because they've just been awesome, and they are going to be, they've also agreed to do some, like, an interview about, you know, what do you do when you find out that your daughter's a sex worker, right? So, yeah, I just have been so blessed. But it really, when I started opening up to people, it just started to liberate me. So my family knows, my friends know, my community knows, my Facebook group, Soulful Sexual Woman, I'm really transparent in there, and there's, you know, other women in there that work in the industry, and we're all, you know, supportive of each other in there. I mean, it has, you know, there's entrepreneurs, there's spiritual women, there's all sorts of people in there. But, you know, it's just nice to be in a space where, you know, people from all walks of life are being non-judgmental of each other, no matter what we've done and what we do, right? And this is what I want to create. It's more of that, more support in the world for people accepting each other, for people stepping out of judgment or stepping out of assumption, and so that we feel so much safer to be ourselves, so we feel so much safer to own our story, and to give permission to other people. And because, you know, we are not what we do, and what we do does not define us. You know, it's not who we are. Who we are isn't here. You know, it's, and we can be so many different energies, right? Like, we can be soulful, we can be sexual, we can be raunchy, we can be businesswoman, we can be spiritual, we can be wild woman, we can be all sorts of, and all wrapped into one. That's just like, that's like one person, right? So I revolve with all these different energies that I embody, and I shouldn't be boxed into what a perfect woman or the nice girl should be, or the woman that people would like. You know, like when I worked in corporate, it was really interesting. Yes, people probably would respect, typically, my job a lot more, working in law firms and accounting firms. But let me tell you, I was numbing my life back then. I think I was more of a prostitute back then in a job that I hated, working for someone. You know, I mean, I probably didn't really hate my jobs, but, you know, ultimately I knew that I was born for more. I knew that I was born here, and I was here to help people, and I have a message. You know, working in an office was not helping people the way I wanted to help people, right? Doing the work that I do now, on a daily basis, I help people. you know, and it makes me feel amazing, and it's rewarding, and I love it. And so I think that is like I said, I think, you know, there was more of a prostitute when I was working in an office than I am now, when I'm just being so much more true to myself and my path. And I know there's a lot of industry workers that would agree with me and say they love this way more than they did other jobs. So, you know, this is a calling sometimes. You know, we really feel called to do this. It's not like we choose it, right? You know, in the most part, whether that's consciously or unconsciously, we're choosing it, and we choose to stay in it, and for whatever reason. But it's not, you know, we're not forced, and we're not, you know, like some people might say to you, oh, so, you know, like that you should be saved or something. It's like, no, I want to do this. Like, and some people think maybe you're choosing it because, you know, it's your last resort or something. Well, let me tell you, like, I've come from running other people's businesses. I've come from this corporate background. I did not need to do this work. So I do it. I've chosen it because I chose it, and because it was fun. And it's still fun, and I still get to explore, and I get to play, and I get to help people in so many different ways. And every day I'm learning from my clients, and I'm learning about people, and I'm discovering more. And, you know, I have my boundaries. I'm really strong on my boundaries now. It's something that I've had to learn. So I don't do anything that I don't necessarily want to do. Like, I know and say, hey, this isn't actually, like, this is a boundary for me, right? And be really strong on that. So and I really honor myself and what I want to do for me, and where I can hold space for my clients to explore what they want to explore. And so it's just a really amazing space to be in, and I'm so excited because I think this work is so vital, and I hope that more women will come into to doing this work as well. And I think it is, it's just, we really need to start opening up about it and bringing it into the light. So the Naked Woman Rising is about that, and it's a website that which is being worked on at the moment. It will have my series of my confessions, which is working towards my book, which might come out sooner now. And I will also have some videos, and we'll have a membership site. And part of the membership, the reason I'm doing the membership site, is to build that community of women that can come together and support each other from all walks of life, and to feel safe to be vulnerable. Because what heals shame is having that is empathy, firstly, and having that support community of people that you can go, oh, me too, like they resonate to your story, right? And so there might be people watching this that are resonating to my story and feel like they're just a little bit less alone and a little bit less shamed, and hey, you know what, I get it, right? So part proceeds of that site, the membership site that I'm developing, will go back to the Life 2 project. The Life 2 project helps women that have been in DV. It really helps them to heal. And so it's something that I've been through. I've had 3 DV relationships, and I had to do some really deep healing on myself, and it's something that I now help other women with, is to heal from DV. And so it's something I'm really passionate about. So of course I wanted to be able to support, to give back to that, because I think that is very, very common, like extremely common for all women to have experienced some sort of abuse. And so I really want to be able to support that. And so so I think this is just the beginning, right? This is the beginning of many, 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 many more stories to come, and confessions, and owning it, like just owning it. So I just want to say to you out there, for you, that everyone that is watching, because obviously if you're listening to this, you're watching, is that wherever you're at right now is totally okay. And that no matter what you've done, no matter what you do, I support you. I love you. And, you know, I will be there for you if you want to reach out to me. No matter what, right? If you think you've done the worst thing in the world, I can tell you that I can be there to hold space and just have that empathy, right? So I just love that I can do that for people, and I'm so happy that you watching this are doing that for me, okay? And I just can't wait to rise up and bring other women with me, to all of us to rise up and to be open and not to be afraid, and to just open our hearts to each other, to get out of judgment of ourselves mostly, and to not be afraid of what other people think. You know, I don't like to believe in right or wrong or good and bad. And I'm just here to say that this is me. I'm EJ and I'm CJ and I'm one person, and I'm not going to be two different. I'm not going to be two different identities anymore. I'm just one and the same. So I want you to look at all the parts of you maybe that you have disowned, or that maybe you've been hiding. And you don't have to come out about them. You don't have to be like me and be like, "Wow, here I am." Just in yourself, just, you know, love that part of you. Know that it's okay. It's all okay. You're still lovable, because you are love. We're all love, right? And don't let anyone tell you that you're not. So let's rise. Enough is enough. No more shaming. No more not good enough. Let's fucking rise. This is the Naked Woman Rising. And I'm here. And I'm Bea. And I hope you will support me, because I will support you. Much love to you sisters, and also love to you brothers that support us on this journey.